we're back with Spotify, and you guys know for years I've been obsessed with Love After Lockup, Love During Lockup. This is one of my favorites from the show. Melissa, thanks so much for coming by.
Thanks for having me.
Totally. So, you guys know I'm kind of venturing off into my own podcast. I'm leaving rock and I want to do reality TV as well. If you are a rock and roll band and you haven't seen or heard of Love During Lockup, it's amazing. So, Melissa is one of the nice guys on the outside. There's somebody on the inside locked up. They made a couple life mistakes and you're waiting for them to get out of jail and you want to help them get back into society and you're in love with them. So, Melissa met Louie a long time ago, previously to being locked up. You guys didn't fall in love until later in life? Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we went to the same high school and he was, more popular than me and he was a few years older. So like I knew who he was more than he knew who I was.
I loved your storyline. I was rooting for you guys because it seemed genuine. Some of the connections aren't as genuine, and you really loved Louie. And I could not get over the mom issue, though. I have had crazy mother-in-law problems like Donna that are a little overbearing. You were so calm and cool and collective when she's overstepping boundaries. How did you stay calm?
I think I was just like in my mind trying to do it for Louis. Like I was like, okay, I'm, putting myself out here, like going to Georgia without him, to meet her for the first time when he was still incarcerated. And I was just like, okay, I don't want him like to add stress when he gets out, thinking like now he picked a girl who can't get along with his mom. Although I think it would be any girl. But
Yeah.
I didn't want him though to think like, oh, maybe I made a mistake with me because I'm, not capable of getting along with his mother. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna try to like bite my tongue in the beginning.
Yeah, you're a ride or die for him. You definitely are all in. And I love a good fixer upper too. You know how men like old cars to fix up? Sometimes I like a man that I can fix up and take care of. I've dated a felon. So I think it's why I like the show. I relate to it. But have you been able to kind of put your foot down more recently and been, getting more respect from his mom?
Yeah, I think that recently, now that she sees that we're serious and he's serious about me, I think that she's kind of like backed off a little bit. Like, I think that in the beginning, she thought that, I was using him. I don't know for what, but
How?
yeah, like, oh, she likes you for the wrong reasons. Like, what are the wrong reasons?
You're getting him teeth. You're looking for jobs. You're like,
Right.
move in.
Like, I just think that she
Ugh.
felt like I was stepping on her toes and like that was her job, until me. And she just couldn't, she didn't want to take a back seat. Like she didn't want to mind her own business. Like she was so used to being the only woman in his life. And like I got that, but I feel like now she definitely has kind of, backed off a little bit. A
That's
little bit.
good. I also think there's a correlation on the show and off the show with men in jail with overbearing mothers. I don't know why that is, but this is a common thing. Like, or women that think the son is more like their best friend. They don't have a life outside of their son and they wind up in jail. It's crazy. But,
Yeah.
and so, okay, you literally got Louis. You moved him in with you. I mean, you've done everything for this guy. Are you guys still together?
Yes, yeah, we're very much still together, yeah, and I feel like it's
Aww.
definitely a work in progress.
Every relationship is though,
I mean
every single relationship has its challenges. Are you guys thinking marriage and babies?
I mean, definitely not babies, I don't think. I'm like, we're both in our 40s, like, I don't, I mean, down the road, I would definitely, consider being married to him, but I think that he still has, like, a long way to go as far as, like, his personal life.
His growth. Is he flipping
Yeah,
pizzas still?
he's still flipping pizzas. He wants to do like the personal training. He's really into fitness and like, he wants to do a lot of things. He's out there, but honestly, it's just hard with his record, like to get a job and,
Yeah.
do a lot of the things that, he wanted to do. And I don't think that he realized that prior to, coming out and like serving the 10 years. I think he thought that it was kind of going to be like, okay, I did my time, now it's time to move on. But this is something that's going to carry, he's going to carry with him for the rest of his life.
Yeah. First of all, I would not let my man be a personal trainer. I think that's in the top 10 category of cheaters. It's just not a good idea.
I know, and I'm like, okay, like you can senior citizens, like you can train, but you were like not going to like women's homes and
Yeah.
like
No.
training housewives all day.
I did the housewife thing and had a personal trainer and he overstepped his boundaries. I just don't think it's a good idea. But yeah, you're right. Maybe like a senior citizen retirement home, he could go do swim classes.
Yeah, like yeah, exactly, like in the pool or something. But yeah, and I feel like Louis like a little naive to like being hit on or like he's been out of the game for a while, and I'm like, I don't want you to get in any like situations that you're like, oh, I didn't realize, she was hitting on me.
Totally. And I understand what you're saying about getting back into society. I did a whole podcast about this where I understand you make mistakes, you did your time, it's a bummer. A lot of people are really young when they make these mistakes and they're not thinking right. I wish society gave more grievance and forgiveness when somebody gets out of jail. How are you supposed to do right if you can't get a great job or you can't get a driver's license or you can't get an apartment? And if you can't get all these basic things, that's how you get back in the system. So something needs to change in that sense.
Yeah, and even like, there were these reentry programs that, are supposed to help felons get jobs and find, new things when they get out, like help with, opening bank accounts and cars and things like that. But the problem is that it's like they don't explain that it's certain felonies, is not like his
Oh,
felony. So it's like, oh yes, we do help felons, but maybe a felony drug charge, but not an armed robbery charge. Like there's different, like his felony is just one of the most severe, and it's like the unforgiving for most jobs. Like it's like, oh, we do
that's
hire
crazy.
felons, but not this type of felon. So I'm like, I wish there were more programs or anything that helps those type of felons, like the more severe crimes, to get back into society. Because right, like how luckily he has always has like the skill of making pizzas. Okay, so
Yeah.
he can always go back to that. But like if he didn't, like where it's just really hard to find something to like move forward. And he's like really changed his life and wants to do better. And it's just like, all these things, it's just like one, obstacle after another.
A lot of hurdles to jump. So has
Yeah.
your family kind of like, do they like Louis now? What do they think?
I think that now they definitely are coming around more. Like they definitely see that he, is keeping his end of the bargain and keeping his word, and that he wants to work and he's not just sitting around. And I think that they can see too that how difficult it is. It's so
Yeah.
easy to say like, okay, go get a job, and it's like where like he's not even going to get a job at McDonald's because they're going to do a background check. It's just, and especially this day and age where everything is online on the computer, like there's a background check for everything. It's not like how it was where a company maybe would have to pay to like run a background check. It's just like they're going to hire it they're going to do it at any job to get hired.
Yeah, and I feel like there's more competition nowadays. There's a lot of people out looking for jobs and not a lot of available jobs. So it's different from the 90s when I first started working, and I don't even think I got background checked. I just walked on to work. And now it's like you
Yeah,
gotta
fingerprinted.
hustle and have
Yeah,
like 3 jobs if you want to make a lot of money. You can't just
yeah.
have one. So okay, I gotta ask the cheerleading costume. That was like an awesome, funny episode. Did the producers have the idea of the cheer costume? Was that your idea? How did that come about?
It was my idea because I was saying that I was a cheerleader in high school, and then when me and Louie would talk, he would make jokes about high school, like, oh, are you gonna cheer for me? And then I'm like, oh my god, how crazy would it be if I showed up to his release like in our high school cheer uniform? I mean, his mom thought it was crazy, of course, and I feel like Louie would have been more excited if it was just me and him there and not her.
You are again just so much more patient than I would be with the mom. I'm so needy. I want the guy all to myself. I don't want to share him. And you even shared the first interaction with his mom. You
I
really
didn't
took
even
a
get
step
the
back.
first hug.
I forgot about that. I just remember watching it and being like, this girl, I could not do that. I would be like, move over, honey. I'm number one. I
I
can't
know.
share.
I know. It was definitely hard to, I felt like when we were going to pick him up that I kind of anticipated that that's what was going to happen. Like
Yeah.
just because of the relationship they, have that I was discovering along the way. Like it's funny because when I think back to high school when I knew him, I didn't really know anything about his life, but like his mom or anything. Like I just knew, oh, this,
You just thought he was
upperclassman,
hot.
right? That he was hot, and even when talking to him when we first started getting to know each other when he was in prison, like I still didn't really know until I met her for the first time. And then I'm like, okay, now I'm painting the picture in my head of how this actually goes.
You were in too deep already.
Yeah, yeah, I was already in too deep for that to be a deal breaker.
And then you won't believe this connection. I just think it's so random. The world is really small. The girl that was the dental hygienist working on his teeth, Michelle, she
Oh,
went
yeah.
to my high school.
Really?
Yeah, like I don't know her, but she went to my high school in California. So I'm watching the show and I'm like, how did she end up there? And then what did you think watching it back? I felt like there was some flirtation.
Yeah, I did. Watching it back, I'm like, I because that was like I wasn't even there. Like
Yeah,
for the initial appointment I was, and then that I'm like, okay, I feel like she was kind of overstepping her boundaries, and I was like,
yeah,
that's rude because everyone there met me, when I went with him for the initial consultation. So then I'm like, that's kind of disrespectful
yeah.
that, it's not like, oh, I have a girlfriend. Like, no, you met his girlfriend, she was there paying for his procedure, and then it's like I felt like, okay, so was that your opportunity to try to, I don't know,
That was
by doing
rude.
it?
That
Yeah,
was
it was
really
rude.
I felt like everyone was acting like he's single when you guys are clearly together, and even when you guys have been living separately, you're working on the relationship, so you're still together.
Yeah, and I think his mom was like encouraging that.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
she's like,
oh my god,
oh,
I couldn't.
yeah. I'm like, okay, are you, and like, of course, when we're watching it back, then I'm like arguing with Louie, and he's, oh, that was so long ago, like, oh, that. I'm like, okay, well, I didn't know that. I didn't know that your
Yeah.
mom was involved in like trying to, I don't know, like pair you up because she was mad at me or we were arguing. Like, so we didn't break up. Like, we weren't, like, oh, okay, we're on a break or whatever. We're in a long distance relationship, but like that, was tough in itself. So I just felt like that you're just trying to hook them up with someone behind my back. What was rude, on
You
all accounts.
handled it with a lot of class and better than most people would. And that's what's hard about a reality TV show is you relive the drama or what you went through later. And, then it stirs it back up. But you have to be a
Yeah,
really strong couple to stay together on a reality TV show. Cause also you're going to get the opinions of people you don't know chiming in about your relationship that aren't actually in it.
yeah, exactly. And we were from the beginning. We were kind of like, oh, like let's just not even watch it. But then
You can't.
it's impossible. So
No,
watching
no.
it, fighting about it, then like,
Then there's
fighting with
makeup
each
sex
other.
though.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah,
good.
that's the good part. That's the
That's
good part.
fun. So are you glad that you did love during lockup? What if you like signed up to do it all again?
Yeah, I would do it again. I mean, I think that it brought us, closer in a weird way because it's just like a different experience that not everyone goes through that we had to share. So I think that, even for our relationship, it gave us more opportunities to see each other or, get closer because you're sharing like something personal like that together and spending a lot of time together. Like when he first got out, and I would do it again, even though like the people that are the comments and stuff like that.
You can't let the haters get to you.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, okay, well, that's just part of the game. Like, I know, I think it was fun, and it's something that when we're older, we could look back on and be like, oh my god, remember that time we were on that show? Like,
Yeah.
it's fun.
Have you gotten recognized out together?
Yeah, we have. He gets recognized a lot, like making pizzas.
That's funny. Do girls come in like knowing it's
Yeah,
Louie from Love After Lockup to order
yes,
pizzas?
they have. Yes, yes, and
Wow.
and even like the pizza place in Georgia. Dirk from there is always like telling Louie that girls are like calling and asking or coming in. Yeah. So, but
He's
sometimes
not
I
a
think
male stripper, but you got to worry about your man tossing pizzas.
I know. I'm
These
like, there's
bitches are thirsty.
they are thirsty. They're thirsty, and I feel like okay, last season, everyone was coming for me because I'm like, oh, a bitch or whatever. But
What?
yeah, like, oh, like Louis deserves better and blah blah blah. And it's
I'll be on.
like,
I'll go on the record. I think you could do better, but I totally understand when you're in love with somebody, you blinders on. So
yeah,
I would say the opposite, but
but yeah, I'm just like, you guys, it's whatever like infatuation I had in high school and that brought us together, I think. But then, once we were in this relationship, it's like, okay, the reality is he was in prison for 10 years. Like that's a lot of, trauma, growth, like that I'm dealing with on a daily basis that, you don't really see on the show.
yeah, there's
You
a
know,
lot behind cameras.
like he definitely like being in prison for 10 years, like, you're out of the loop. Like there's
That stunts your growth. And so, not only in a relationship, but as an individual, he's probably about 10 years behind you, age wise. And so, you're kind of probably being more of the mother figure and how close he is with his mom. He's probably kind of like someone to maybe be more the strong female in his life and lead him. But well, thank you so much, Melissa, for taking time out of your day and stopping by the podcast. And I wish you and Louie the best of luck. And I hope you guys come back on Love After Lockup because you guys are really entertaining to watch.
thanks so much for having me, and it was so nice meeting you.
Yeah, it was nice meeting you too.
All right, bye.
Okay, bye.